When I was 8 years old, my dad died of Hodgkin's disease. And after losing your father, so many girls end up going to guys to fill up their loneliness and depression, and I went to food. There was an emptiness inside of me that I just constantly wanted to fill, and I would just always fill it with food. It was just a satisfaction that I couldn't really figure out why. And I just didn't like myself, though. I didn't appreciate who I was, but I didn't care enough to do anything about it. And tons of people would tell me to go on these diets, and I was probably about, at that time, close to 300 pounds. I had low back problems and I had water in my knees. I felt so broken and lonely. I felt like there's just no hope. I can't do it. There's just no way. Like, I've tried to do these diets, I've took walks, I've talked to 100 people about it, and I just couldn't do it. And I felt like I didn't necessarily have a family to support me. My mom's going through enough of her own depression, enough of her own hurt. And then my brother moved out, and I just felt like I was alone and I didn't have any of that. Now, when things come into my life, I can look back at that and say it was hard and it hurt, but I have victory through it because Christ, He has completely transformed me physically and emotionally, because it wasn't just outside that I changed, it was the inside that made the outside change. Because you can be as beautiful as can be, but you can be super broken and hurting inside because you need Christ if you're that way. I remember I sat on my bed and I just started crying. I said, God, I want to lose weight for your glory. It's not to get married. And I kept thinking about, I go on mission trips and I don't want to be exhausted, and I don't care that I want to look like a Scottsdale girl. I want to do it to be glorifying to your kingdom. And I felt like that was a part of an absence between me and God to get closer, because I was not obeying Him that way. I was being disobedient to the temple that He's blessed me with, and I just didn't care. And so I felt so discouraged sometimes, though, because so many people would say, oh, it's so hard. And I said, no, I'm just gonna pray. I'm gonna pray constantly every day, and I'm going to read up online what I can eat and what I can't eat, ask people about workout plans. And it took me 5 years, and through the Lord's strength and having Him walk with me, and through the hardest struggles of still crying and feeling that I wasn't pretty enough, but knowing that I needed to be obedient to Him, I now have lost 130 pounds through all that. I've just found such a security through the Lord of who I am, and that I don't need to be a size 0 to be beautiful. I don't need to be tan or have all these things done to me. I just need to have Christ reigning in my heart, and His Word talks about being fearfully and wonderfully made, and He's enthralled by your beauty. And He created us, and I just feel like by obeying Him and taking care of His temple, I feel just more confident about who I am through Him, not because I've just lost that much weight. I think that God just has an incredible story through my life, and I'm only 23, and I just am not a quiet person, and I know God's put me through this, and I'm gonna stinking tell people about it, and I'm gonna glorify Him through it, because without Him, I couldn't do this, any of it. I couldn't have gotten through any of it without Christ. And I just, through those things I went through, I don't want to just say, oh, that's part of my resume of my life and just let it sit there. I want to go out and tell people and say, I've been through this. I know how hard it hurts to feel like you're the most ugliest person or struggle with insecurity. And I want people to understand you can have victory through this. And it's only through Christ, because humanly we just can't do it.
God is my shepherd, I won't be wanting.